PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
Good evening, I'm Maureen Bates.
And I'm Julie Thompson.
On this episode of PCN, we stop by the Fit Factory to get some tips on sticking to those New Year's resolutions.
We contemplate with candlelight with the Sisters of St Margaret, and we get some winter safety tips from the Pembroke Fire Department.
What's a juice cleanse? We hear about the benefits with Vela Juice Bar, and we also learn some winter car preparedness with AAA.
On a brand new Town Talk, we meet Marlene McCollem, the new Assistant Town Manager in Plymouth. But tonight, we start at the first annual Winterfest. One day before New Year's Eve, the town of Plymouth did something it's never done before, hosted a Winterfest. To create a circus-like event on the main street of downtown, they teamed up with Aerialicious Entertainment to provide fun and exciting performances on the street and inside Memorial Hall. We spoke with the entertainment group's owner, Gina DeFreitas, and her two stage companions just ahead of their on-stage circus act.
The last time there were this many people walking down the center of Court Street in Plymouth at 6 o'clock at night was probably a few decades ago. Luckily, it didn't take blizzard of 1978 conditions to close down the roads this time. In fact, the snow on this night, while coming down at a decent clip, was very mild, as were the temperatures, making the town's first ever Winterfest feel more like a winter wonderland.
You know, if they had tried to do this the past couple of seasons, they might not have had this much luck, but this time around, winter actually showed up for the first ever Winterfest. And if you look behind me, you can see they've got cones and a police barricade set up from the corner of Court and Samoset Street, and that stretches all the way down to the post office. And there are street performers and all kinds of activities going on, and I think we'll take a look at a lot of them tonight.
While the street performers were keeping the outdoor crowds entertained, apparently there was some kind of big attraction going on inside Memorial Hall. Something called an instant circus show.
The instant circus show is, well, it's three people, it's a trio show, and through the three of us we put on a full 45-minute show. So there's magic, there's Diablo, there's hula hoops, there's aerial silks, there's an aerial lyra, which is aerial hoop, there's plate spinning, there's crowd interaction, there's dance, there's goofing around, clowning, fun, everything that you would expect to see at a circus.
Working with a setup that's probably a little smaller than what they might be accustomed to, it didn't take much to get these agile acrobats primed up to perform.
We did a run through earlier today and a tech, so we felt comfortable on the stage. We're seasoned professionals, so we've got the nerves under control, and we're just going to pace ourselves and have a real good time.
I perform solo quite a bit, so for me it's a little different, but it's a lot of fun, and we're going to have a great time tonight. And I think the audiences are going to love it, and they're going to clamor for more for next year.
Meanwhile, other members of the Aerialicious Entertainment Group were dispersed throughout Main Street, bringing that circus vibe to the outdoors. That included jugglers, a Snow Queen stilt walker with enormous silver wings, and of course not to be missed was the fire performer who set up shop on the corner and performed some hair-raising stunts with his fire props. And believe it or not, all of this was safe. These are trained professionals, by the way. There was even a scheduled laser light show on the Town Hall Green that the adults and children were enjoying. Whether it was the crowd participatory plate spinning, face painting, or head painting, a Snow Queen on stilts with Frosty the Snowman, knife juggling, fire juggling, or amazing acrobatics, the partnership between the town of Plymouth and Aerialicious Entertainment to deliver a fun and safe first ever Winterfest was shaping up to be a success.
We have fun doing it, and we love this. This is our life. Like, we enjoy it so much that we want to bring that joy to everybody, you know, not just kids, but adults too, and we remind them that there's a little bit of circus in everyone, not just children.
In downtown Plymouth, for PCN, I'm Brian Sullivan.
Every new year, countless people resolve that this will be the year they go to the gym and get in shape. But if so many people are making this resolution every January 1st, some of them for the second or third time, it shouldn't come as much of a surprise that these resolutions aren't working. We headed up the road to Fit Factory to find out why they're not working and to get some ideas on how to make this year the year to make those resolutions work.
A crowded weight room in January? Well, that's just about as predictable as the sun rising in the east and setting in the west. If there was 1 month out of the year to own any type of fitness center, this would be it.
Gyms across the country see a roughly 35 to 50% increase in volume in the month of January, with the second week of the new year being the busiest overall. But here's the thing, 80% of that New Year's resolution crowd drops off by the second week of February. So we thought we'd talk to some trainers just to find out what people can do to actually stick with a program.
That's not to say that people don't go into these things with the best intentions. The problem is those intentions may be too good and possibly out of reach right out of the gate.
I think people really set unrealistic goals for themselves. Something like the first goal they set is they want to come in 5, 6, 7 days a week, where the realistic goal would be 3 or 4 days a week. And then they miss one day, and next thing you know, it snowballs into them missing through the rest of the week.
Just as a 2-pack-a-day smoker shouldn't realistically be expected to be able to quit smoking cold turkey, a person who has spent 0 days a week at the gym up until this point shouldn't be expected to suddenly show up every single day. The trick is to keep the goals based in reality and ease into it.
If you work a 9 to 5, obviously commuting, it gets really busy. So really just trying to focus on if I can get in after work for even a half hour, 45 minutes, and then get home afterwards. If it's easier for you to come in the morning, same thing, just trying to be realistic about getting up early, trying to set that realistic goal of making it in maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and then use the weekend to try and make up for some of that time that maybe you lost during the week.
One element that shouldn't be overlooked is the intimidation factor. For someone who's never worked out before, it can be a little overwhelming to be surrounded by people who look like they do. This is when a trainer or a knowledgeable workout partner can be very handy. A good workout buddy or trainer can not only be helpful in motivating people that are new to the exercise community, but they can also teach the proper way of doing the exercises. Proper form will reduce the risk of injury while increasing muscle growth.
It's very easy to come into the gym and just get a workout in, but it's harder to come in and get the correct workout in. So a lot of times people come in and they start doing a workout they found on a website or they saw on the news or something like that, and they start doing it and their form's completely wrong, and so they're trying something but they're not doing it the correct way, so they're missing out on a huge part of the benefit of the exercise itself.
Sometimes a good productive workout is enough to keep a person motivated to maintain a steady workout schedule. But with most exercise and fitness programs, the really noticeable results don't start to appear until after a couple of months of regular training and proper diet. This is when it's good to have all of those gizmos and gadgets, because they actually do more than just take selfies.
I like to set an alarm on my phone just to go off every day at like 1 o'clock that says go work out. So it's just, I might not work out it every day at 1, but it's kind of that little reminder that ding, my phone goes off at 1. I see workout and I know I'm going to get in later that day to try and get my stuff done.
Here's to hoping we can lower the dropout rate in 2018. Reporting from the Fit Factory at the Kingston Collection, I'm Brian Sullivan for PCN.
PCN recently stopped by Duxbury's Society of St Margaret for a program called Contemplation and Candlelight. This program offers a respite for the business and stresses of life. Surrounded by candlelight, the program allows your mind, your body, and soul to relax. The program spans hundreds of years and features some of the oldest chants in the Christian church, as well as pieces by contemporary composers. Whether it's a cry of joy, a plea for mercy, a song of justice, or a longing for the world to come, the thread throughout the program is that of shelter, of safety, and of rest.
We're here at the Convent of the Sisters of St Margaret in Duxbury at one of our events this season titled Contemplation and Candlelight. This is a service that we began this year as we started thinking about opportunities for people to come and pray with us, to be with us, and what we could offer to the wider community. This service is an hour of music and meditation done entirely in darkness with only candlelight, which makes it particularly beautiful. The music is provided by the group Vox Equalis, which is actually a group begun by the sisters. Sister Carolyn and I started this group several years ago. It's a group of women specializing in women's music, which of course is appropriate for a convent. And so there will be 5 singers tonight, and we will be singing a cappella, which means we won't be using any other instruments than our voices to make the sound. We felt like the community would enjoy a place to come, a safe place for an hour to rest, pray, think, just be. This service is actually part of our mission of prayer. The sisters pray 5 times a day, and we always welcome the public to join us for those times, as well as offering space for people to come stay overnight or for several nights as a way to get away from their normal busy lives and hear the voice of God. We're located in Duxbury, which is a beautiful location right here on the bay. So we have a physical surrounding that is conducive to prayer and silence and meditation. We have many opportunities for people to come worship with us, but not very many opportunities for those who might be seeking. The category of the spiritual but not religious is a category we were particularly focused on when we planned this service. It doesn't require any participation. It's actually just about being. It also doesn't require any participation in rituals of the church, which again make it a wonderful opportunity for people who might not know anything about the Episcopal Church to come and just be a part of and observe. We will be offering 3 more of these services throughout the year. As sisters, we love candlelight, and it's a wonderful way to eliminate distractions. When you're sitting in the dark surrounded by candles, it becomes a safe place as well as a beautiful setting. There will also be a small amount of incense tonight. Part of this service is engaging all the senses. So we're trying to engage in every possible way to provide an experience that's really transforming.
Despite this recent bout of relatively warm weather, Massachusetts residents hopefully haven't lulled into a false sense of security that the worst of winter 2018 is over. Because it probably isn't. If there's one thing predictable about winter weather here in the Bay State, is that the weather is unpredictable. We spoke with Pembroke's Fire Chief, Mike Hill, to get some tips on what to do to prepare if and when the next storm strikes.
I think everybody should make sure that their heating systems are properly inspected every year, especially oil burners. They should be cleaned at least once a year. Gas furnaces burn a lot cleaner, so there's really not too much of a worry to get them cleaned, although they should be inspected. I think everyone who has any kind of fossil burning fuel needs to have some working properly. Carbon monoxide detectors, smoke detectors, obviously. If you have any kind of power vent for your heating system that's outside, make sure it's clear so the carbon monoxide doesn't back up in your home. Things like that. Make sure your chimneys are clean. Sometimes animals will build nests. We've had a couple of incidents in the past that have caused some deaths because of animal infestation in the chimneys. Obviously, watch the weather report, so you'll have a good handle on when the storm's going to start. Make sure all your battery stuff is all charged up, ready to go. Have plenty of food. Canned food is the best. You want to have enough water, even if you get it from the tap. Fill up some old jugs. Medicines. If you're running low on your medicines and we're going to be out of power for a few days, there's things that need to be refrigerated. You want to make sure that you have all you're supposed to have. Some people will try to cut corners if they have frozen pipes. Maybe take some shortcuts that they shouldn't. Using propane torches to melt pipes, melt frozen pipes. We had an incident earlier this week in which that happened. It resulted in a fire in a ceiling. People using excess space heaters, improperly powered. They really should be plugged directly into the wall. They're not meant to be plugged into power strips or used on long extension cords. The best thing is to limit your time outside. And if you have to be outside, make sure you cover all your skin. Frostbite happens really quickly, and when folks, especially tomorrow when you're going to be out shoveling, people think, oh, I'm not sweating, so I'm not really, dehydrated, but you'll dehydrate quicker in a dry atmosphere than you will, in humid ones.
Sticking with the resolution theme, we all know people love to hit the gym this time of year, but we also know exercise is only part of the equation. Sometimes your body needs a nutritional reset. With all the extra indulgences people ingest during the holidays, one way of doing a reset is with a juice cleanse. But what is a juice cleanse? We stopped in with our local juice experts at Vela Juice Bar to learn a little bit more.
Juice cleanses are great for anyone who wants to incorporate them into their diet because you are maximizing so many fruits and vegetables compacted into one 16-ounce juice, which is what we use.
You want to make sure you cut out certain foods. You really want to start eating more vegetarian. Lots of greens, cut out caffeine, coffee, alcohol, really stick to whole foods. And then during the cleanse, you want to be consuming the juices. They are packed with all kinds of vegetables and fruits. And then once you're done with the juice cleanse, for the next couple days, you want to really slowly reintroduce solid foods back into your diet. Go back to the vegetarian diet for a couple days, and then reintroduce the foods that you were eating before.
The reason I love juice and smoothies, for me, waking up in the morning and putting something in the blender that I know is going to be good for me really gives me energy for the day and keeps me full and makes me feel good. It makes me think much better and clearer. I mean, just obviously owning this business, I'm, able to have incredible health benefits from the juices and smoothies, and I truly do feel I am happier, I think clearer, because I'm able to nourish my body with ingredients that, as a human being, we all need. And there's just something to be said about whole foods that are real, and I do think you are what you eat, mentally and physically.
By now, it's no secret to New England drivers that winter is officially here. It actually arrived ahead of schedule. If you're a driver, you've certainly noticed the change in weather. But have you taken the precautions necessary in case of a winter driving emergency? If not, this next segment is for you, as we spoke with AAA's car doctor to find out about how to best equip our vehicles for winter weather.
When you talk about getting your car ready for winter, you really have to think about what's going on under the hood. And there's three critical things you need to look at. Windshield washer fluid to make sure you can clean your window when it gets dirty. The engine coolant to make sure your engine doesn't freeze in the wintertime. And then the other part is the engine oil. Engine oil is critical to good wintertime performance. If you're on the road traveling, it's always a good idea to keep an extra quantity of some fluid with you, especially windshield washer fluid, because if the roads get kind of sticky and you get a lot of spray up on your windshield, you can really go through a gallon of windshield washer in not too long a period of time. So having an extra gallon of windshield washer is a good idea. Having an extra gallon of pre-mixed engine coolant. It's mixed 50-50 antifreeze and water, and you can top off just in case you develop a leak in your engine, and you can top it off and make sure you don't get into real trouble. And of course, having an extra quart of oil in your car is always handy, just in case something happens, an oil light comes on, at least you can top it off. When it comes to driving in the winter, there's nothing more important than the tires on your car. In fact, tires are the only part of your car that actually touch the road, and you want to make sure they're in good shape. If you have to be out in the winter time, there's nothing better than winter tires, but if you don't go for winter tires, a good all-season tire will do pretty well, but you have to make sure they're properly inflated, and you want to make sure they have good tread depth. And you can measure the tread depth with a tread depth tool, or you can do it with a quarter. And if the tread doesn't come to the top of George Washington's head when you put it in the tread, you need to think about new tires for your car. It can be the difference between stopping and running into someone. For those people who have been around long enough, they might even remember the blizzard of '78 where people were stuck in their cars for days. Well, you want to make sure you have an emergency kit in your car just in case. And that should include a reflective triangle in case your car breaks down to let other motorists know you're broken down by the side of the road, a snow shovel, jumper cables, maybe a battery jump pack, something as simple as some water, maybe even extra medication, a first aid kit. There's a bunch of things you should really keep in your car just in case of an emergency. Even a snow shovel, should you slide off the road and you can shovel yourself back out so you can get back on the road safely. All of these things might sound like a lot of things to keep in your car, but realistically, it's better to be prepared for these types of things and not need it than to need it and not be prepared for it.
Our Town Talk segment tonight brings us a new person, the Assistant Town Manager, Marlene McCollem of Plymouth. Welcome.
Thank you.
You've been at the job about 4 months.
That's right.
Okay. And can we find a little bit about your background, where you're originally from?
Sure. So I grew up in Indiana.
Okay.
I got my undergraduate degree there from Ball State University with a bachelor's in urban planning and political science.
Very good.
And then I moved out here to Massachusetts in 2001, and I've been working in a number of municipalities since then. And I've also gotten my master's degree in public administration from Bridgewater State while I've been here.
Excellent, excellent. And while you were working, you did town planning in
Yes.
Carver?
Yes, I was a planning director for the town of Carver. I was a planner for the town of Falmouth, and I was a regional planner for MAPC, which is a state organization for the 101 cities and towns around Boston.
Wow, so that was a huge reach in
Yes.
that place.
Yes.
And now you're in Plymouth.
And now I'm in Plymouth.
Okay, which is a tremendous community unto itself.
It is.
And very different.
Yes.
Yes. So let's talk about what your biggest projects that you're going to involve yourself with, starting with the RKG economic plan. Could you explain what that is and what it's going to do?
So the town has commissioned RKG, they're a private consulting firm, to do an economic development update for the town. They did a prior study about a decade ago. So that's primarily being managed out of the planning office and with the Economic Development Foundation, but I'll be involved with the Board of Selectmen and them to review the recommendations and move the plan forward into implementation.
What are some of the biggest parts of an economic plan for people that don't know what that means?
So a lot of it has to do with your labor force and matching the skills of your labor force with the jobs that are available and
in the area. Okay,
and that we want to grow and develop in town.
Okay, so that will include things like tourism.
Yes.
Okay, and hospitals.
Yes,
healthcare,
absolutely.
because we're big, maybe colleges and universities.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're looking at the major industries.
Gotcha. The Village Center Master Plan. Could you explain what that is?
So that is actually something that's being done again out of the planning office primarily. And I just want to let everybody know there will be an open house on Thursday.
This Thursday.
This
the
Thursday.
18th?
Yes.
Okay.
From 4 to 7 p.m.
Okay.
At Memorial Hall.
Yep.
So if anyone wants to come and talk about what they want the downtown, the waterfront, the beach area to look like, there will be a whole group of us there listening to the comments, taking the feedback, and then the planning office will go back and develop a master plan for the center of town.
Okay, so you're going to take all kinds of input.
Yes, absolutely.
About the center of town. Okay. The drinking water permits and well expansion.
So one of the major pieces of economic development and physical growth is making sure we have drinking water.
Sure.
For people, and also fire protection.
Right.
So if our buildings have a sprinkler system in there, we have to promise them a certain amount of water, and we have to promise them a certain amount of water to fight fires from our hydrants.
Too.
Yes,
Right. Exactly.
absolutely.
Yep.
And the town is currently going through a re-permitting for its withdrawal permit with the state's DEP, and we should be getting a draft permit essentially any day now.
For Plymouth?
For Plymouth,
Okay.
telling us how much water we can withdraw every day. And we are expecting that to be reduced by the state by a little bit over 1 million gallons a day.
Okay, so how does that affect us? What does that mean?
We're going to have to do some work with better managing our water supply, making sure our mains are not leaking, making sure that we're accounting for all of our water, making sure that we've got the most efficient system.
Conservation methods. And
absolutely.
that's on the municipality level as well as individual homes.
Yes.
Clearly.
Yes.
Okay.
So conservation and efficiency. And then we also are in the process of talking about permitting a couple of new wells possibly, because even with the permit cap coming down, we still have a deficit in the amount of water we can supply on a high drought, high stress condition day.
Right.
If we have a well out of service, so we need to be permitting some additional water wells.
So that's not individual person getting a well on their property. That's the town getting the huge wells.
Yes. So these are public water supplies of 1 million plus gallons a day.
Okay. Just to clear that up. Okay. Building projects. A new fire station in North Plymouth.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So the current Station 7 on Spooner Street has been in operation for like 111 years now.
Long time. Yep.
And they're about ready for a new house.
Yeah.
So property has been purchased on Hedge Road. We have hired an architect. We're getting going on the design of that.
Yep.
We hope to have construction starting there, I would say, early spring
of 2018.
Yep. And then finishing up construction at the end of the year.
Great. So possibly by January of next year, it'll be ready to be opened.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Okay. We always have to give a little bit of leeway. We know that on building projects. A new airport administration building.
So the airport is under design. They're underway for a new administration building right next to their current building. Their current building would be taken down.
Okay.
And that will probably go out to construction maybe in June of this year.
Okay.
And it'll take about 12 months to complete. And I'm very much looking forward to working with the Airport Commission and getting to know them and all of the people at the airport.
Now, some people think that the airport is a privately held, or it's not?
No,
it belongs to the town of Plymouth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plymouth is very unique, and it's a great asset to have a municipal airport.
Sure.
There are not a lot of them.
No.
So it's a very unique function of the government that we run an airport.
Yeah. Great. We've got everything in this town, don't we? Everything. Okay, now April town meeting. What are some of the big items that are going to come up at April town meeting?
So this will be the first annual town meeting that I'll have gone through with the town. So I'm learning a lot with the budgeting process, with the capital budget, and I'm meeting a whole bunch of people. There are a couple of there's going to be a couple of interesting projects having to do with the well, with the fire station. So we're looking forward, to those discussions at town meeting. And there's a lot of easements and land purchases and CPA articles that we're looking forward to having debated.
Sure.
And I'm getting a great opportunity to work with the town clerk's office and getting ready for town meeting.
Yeah, it's always it's a very unique thing. The Plymouth town meetings are they're very interesting to watch. There's a lot of content in them, a lot of debate, which is nice. It's the American way, and we are in America's hometown. So what was your biggest surprise about coming to Plymouth?
So I have been a resident here. I've lived here for about a dozen years.
Okay.
So I'm pretty familiar with how things work from the receiving end of receiving services. But I've just been really fascinated and really really happy about the great people I work with. I've been very pleasantly surprised with some of the, I'm really honored to meet some of these people.
Plymouth has some stunning people.
Yeah.
It really does. That's why I think this is such a fabulous town.
Yes.
Well, we will have you back again. It was wonderful to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you for watching. If you want to see the show again, you can check out our website, and PCN is also on YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook to get up-to-date info. Be sure to tune in next week for a brand new PCN and PCN Life.